This video is covering UV and work and general geometry cleanup to prep it for sculpting. The speed of the video can be adjusted. Click on the little gear icon on the bottom right corner of the YouTube screen. Since the last video, I have modeled the details in the face and added some more polygons to the feet. I have kept the toenails as separate meshes as it is easier to work with. This way, no extra edge loops are needed to keep the shape when subdivided. As well, makes it easier to UV map and the normal maps will bake out cleaner. Feel free to pick out some music from my playlist. I want to make a collar for this hound. Time to dive into unwrapping the UV. In edit mode, select the faces. To grow or shrink an element, press Ctrl plus the minus or plus key on the number pad on the keyboard. Once you have used one of the unwrap tools, I have used projection here. I like to move the UVs off the main square. The main square is where the texture is loaded onto the mesh. Any UVs outside of the square will not show the textures in a render. If you are doing a procedural texture, then you will have to make sure to load in a checkerboard map and have all the UVs 1:1 to scale so that the textures do not stretch. I will be hand painting this mesh with Blender and will be trying to maximize the texture real estate. This hound model is separated into 3 main pieces. That way each piece can be multi-sculpted, subdivided to a higher resolution without causing fatal errors to my computer. The head and collar will have its own texture map, so the UVs for that section will not be sharing the same UV grid. There are many ways to lay out a UV map. I prefer to have as many assets mirrored if possible, as it speeds up the workflow for texturing. It's important to keep it tidy and organized, because sometimes it's hard to remember what is going on with the scene and mesh when you have to go back to it a year later. Or in a team or production work, there will be many other hands and eyes that will have to work with the asset. Don't worry if UV work has you wanting to bang your head on the counter. I have not encountered anyone that was thrilled to UV work. To sew the UV, select the verts on the UV editor screen and make sure your cursor is on the UV side of the screen. Press Ctrl plus M. I meant say merge. In Maya, it's called sew and cut. Just making this edge line sharp. See the red lines on the mesh? Those are called mark seams. Select the edges and go to the UV menu on the top drop down and select mark seam. A mark seam indicates where you would the UVs along that line to not be melded, sewn together. After using mark seam on the body, legs and toes and feet, I used UV unwrap. Unfortunately, the screen recording failed on me for that part. I am satisfied. Now is a good time to apply multi-resolution to check over the mesh and how everything looks. I like to draw curvy lines everywhere to see if looks smooth. Keep a close eye on the triangle count. In multi-resolution it can handle 2 million tris, but it's not an enjoyable as can freeze your machine up. I like keeping assets in multi-mode under 250,000. I think the amount of RAM also affects the speed. I might export each mesh separately, that way I can go up to 1,000,000 triangles for each asset if needed. This is the same process I used for my Cabochette character. There is some weird anomalies with the mesh on the toenail. Those nasty tiny Blender trolls always throwing curveballs. Turn on the normals to see clearly what the F is going on. Trim, trim, trim. Rather odd how these random extra points and meshes appeared there. Time to magic school bus into how toe fungus looks like from the inside. Oh yippee, I found more moldy nugget potatoes. The best thing about UV mapping is completing it. I feel so happy. Will ye? In the next video, I will be sculpting our new furry friend. Thanks for joining me and hope you learned something new. For more content, hit the notification bell. Click like and subscribe. Bye.